Assalamu alaikum. We are covering the Madinah Constitution and its impact on modern forms of government. And today we're actually going to go into the actual Constitution, the document itself, and look at the principles that we find of importance to us as Muslims and as people who are living in a modern democratic society here in America. The first very important principle that the Madinah Constitution outlines is the principle of citizenship. In other words, anyone can become a citizen of the Madinah society at that time. It didn't matter what bloodline you were from, it didn't matter what religion you were from, it didn't matter what ethnicity or race you belonged to. If you were committed to the principles of that community at that time, then you had citizenship. And it is found in this following line in the Constitution that you can find in your document. The believers and the Muslims of Quraysh, Yathrib, and those who followed them and joined them and fought with them, they constitute one ummah to the exclusion of all other men. So, didn't matter who you belong to, but you belong to this ummah, which is translated as community, or some people translate that as a nation. So, anyone who follows the people of Yathrib, anyone who joins them, or who fights with them, these are the parameters for citizenship. And as I said in the previous lecture, this moves away from the norm at that time of tribalism to the norm that really is more principled to one of pluralism, because it didn't matter what bloodline you belong to. To this day, in Europe, if you do not have the right blood or the right ethnicity, you do not have full citizenship. Whether you're in England or in France, if you happen to be a Muslim, by the way, not only are not allowed that citizenship, but you are considered a subject of former colonial rule. In England, when they say the word Muslim, they really mean the Indo-Pakistani community of that country, who do not get full citizenship. They are the subjects of former colonial rule. In France, when they say the word Muslim, they really mean the North Africans. In Germany, they mean the Turks. In Italy, they mean the Tunisians and other North Africans, and even the Libyans who have immigrated to Italy. So they are second-class citizens in those societies. The word citizenship therefore, is very important in looking at this Constitution of Medina that allowed anyone to become an equal part of the ummah. And that ummah is really what is to the exclusion of other communities and societies outside of Yathrib at that time. The second principle that is, of course, important and probably is the most important is the principle of justice. Justice is the highest ethical value of Islam, and it is found also as a common ideal in Judaism and in Christianity as major ethical values of monotheism. This is the bridge now between other people, other religions, and this is also the vehicle. This Islamic State becomes the vehicle towards achieving justice. And in this Madinah Constitution, the following line is very important with respect to justice. Any Jew who follows us is entitled to our assistance and the same rights as any one of us, without injustice or partnership. There is mutual advice, mutual consultation, and mutual assistance, and charity rather than harm or aggression. So we get into the issue not only of justice, but also what are the rights and what are the duties of the citizens of this new Islamic State called Medina at that time. Then we get into the third important principle, and that's pluralism. Since we have so many different people who now are part of the fabric of Medina at that time, there is a pluralism of this Islamic State. The line that really underscores this point is in this Madinah Constitution, the following: Jews are an ummah alongside the believers. Jews are a community alongside the community of believers in this particular situation. This allows now for people to look at others in an equal setting, in an equal footing, and that there really is no difference in terms of being human beings with respect to the rest of society. And of course, the Quran says God has bestowed dignity on the children of Adam, and this principle, this Quranic verse, is actually being applied in this line within the Madinah Constitution. The fourth principle is the issue of security. And I find this to be one of the most intriguing principles that is mentioned in the Madinah Constitution. It comes from this line: the town of Yathrib shall constitute a sanctuary for the parties of this covenant. By the way, Yathrib, of course, many of you know, is the name of Medina at that time. So security is given to anyone who flees another area from persecution to come into Medina. How ironic it is today that many of us fled the Muslim countries to find sanctuary or security here in the United States. The issue of security and sanctuary is very important. Of course, the Masjid al-Haram, the Kaaba in Mecca, is considered to be the ultimate sanctuary for all Muslims. And this Islamic State is also considered a sanctuary for any individual who wants to come and feel secure and feel protected. So the notion of protecting its citizens, its residents, is very important. The other important line involving security is the following: whoever goes out to fight as well as whoever stays at home shall be safe and secure in this city unless he has perpetrated an injustice or committed a crime. Therefore, the only condition for losing security is if you have committed a crime, just like we have in this society. Once you've committed a crime and you're convicted in the court of law, you lose your personal liberties and you are locked up in jail in this society. In this particular reference of the Madinah Constitution, the same principle applies, that if you go out and fight or you stay home, you shall be safe and secure unless you commit an act of injustice or you commit a crime. The last principle, and still one of the most important principles in modern government today, is the principle of defense. We have this issue of the city or the state being able to defend itself. And the line that is important here to underscore is the following: the people of this covenant shall come to the assistance of one another against whoever attacks Yathrib. So the defense of the city, the defense of the state, goes beyond personalities, goes beyond tribes, goes beyond groups. And therefore, anybody who is attacked is allowed to get the assistance of other groups. If one element of this new Islamic State is going to be attacked, then all of the Islamic State is under attack, and therefore there is a united coalition of these groups that will assist each other in defending the city and the state at that time. These important principles, again, are not just laying the foundation for the model Islamic State that really made it a great civilization for centuries, but these are the same principles that we find in modern government today. Namely, citizenship, justice, pluralism, security, and defense. If we can examine Muslim countries and look at every one of those principles that are outlined in the Madinah Constitution, you will see, unfortunately, most of the countries would rate very, very low in terms of trying to create a pluralism, a sense of citizenship, a sense of justice and fairness, and especially any kind of protection for those who are fleeing or protection for its own citizens. On the contrary, what is happening is these countries, many of the Muslim countries, are persecuting their own people. So there is no sanctuary and there is no protection at this time. And needless to say, as a result, there isn't even an ability to defend many of these countries. In fact, most of the per capita, of the gross national product of these countries are used in buying weapons that end up in either attacking other Muslim countries or in killing their own people in that country. I can name Iraq, Algeria, and many more, like in Afghanistan, where we see this case, unfortunately, far too often. I'd like to end with that, and next we will go to other Islamic principles based on the Quran and the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, that extend to how these principles are laid out in modern forms of governing principles. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.